I didn't even know I was Jewish till I was about 12 years old. And I was brought up with like the teachings of Jesus plus the teachings of metaphysics and different things, and all kind of mixed together in a blender kind of a thing. And then all my relatives were Jewish, and on the West Coast especially, the Judaism, unless it's Orthodox, is real just, bar mitzvahs, funerals, weddings, and Yom Kippur and Passovers, that's it, And so I'd go to Seders, which is the practice of the Passover feast and the dinner with the bitter herbs and the matzah and the lamb and all that stuff with relatives, and I didn't understand what was going on, because I wasn't brought up really in anything but metaphysics, which was
mind over matter.
Yeah, just positive thinking and no doctors and the whole thing, and so when I was about 16, I rebelled against everything that I was brought up in because it was so confusing. I didn't really have any kind of a base, a foundation. Because I was brought up, they were telling me that I really didn't have a body, and although I clothed it and fed it, it wasn't real, and I was just walking around going, what am I doing here, So I went the whole route of the young people today, and especially then on the West Coast, into the drugs and Eastern religion and meditations and yoga and all these different things that I figured were going to satisfy me, and they did for hours or days at a time. But then I'd always come down and, go, well, that didn't do it. Because I always knew that when I'd find true happiness and peace, it would last.
And so you were just always searching.
Like crazy. Yeah. And I searched with my whole heart. And in all the Eastern religions and all the cults and all the world religions, they always gave some credit to Jesus Christ. The Muslims say that he was a prophet. The Krishnas say that he was an incarnation of the Godhead in his age. Yogananda and all these different Eastern teachers said that he had Christ consciousness. They always use words like Christ consciousness, Christ this, Jesus that. The Buddhists would even say he was a Buddha. He was another incarnation of God like Buddha was. And in all my searchings, I saw that all these people were pointing to Jesus. They're going, well, yeah, Jesus is one of the ways, but we're one of the ways. And they wouldn't all agree on anything except that Jesus was one of the ways. And then I looked into the Bible in John chapter 14, I think it is, or John chapter 6. Yeah, it's 6, where he says, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one gets to the Father but by me. So they all gave him credit, and he only gave himself credit. And I went, well, that kind of eliminates everybody. They all say he's cool, and he says he's the only one that's going to get you there, so I guess I'm safe. So I started praying to Jesus. I did this all through intellectual reasoning and laid it out on the table and figured it out that if they all gave him credit, and he only gave himself credit, and they all agreed on one thing, that he was one of the ways, and he only agreed that he was the only way. So I figured I had no choice but to go with him. And then I started praying to Jesus.
Wow.
Was that another trip for you? Like in reading
for
your
2 years.
Biographical sketch, you'd gone through you're a child of the 60s, eh? In some ways.
Yes, and the early 70s.
Yeah, and you've done all the experimentation, whether it's the mind trip, the chemical trip, and so forth. At what point in your relationship with Christ did it all of a sudden occur to you that it wasn't the same as the other trips?
In 1973, I started praying to Jesus. In 1975, I was born again. I went through an experience called the baptism of the Holy Spirit, and in May of 1975, was baptized in water in June, and got into fellowship right there. And since then, it's been, so gun-ho. But for 2 years, it was just a trip. Jesus was another guru.
Yes.
I was reading Bibles and praying, but I wasn't born again. I didn't.
What made the difference? What was that crucial moment of being born again?
Accepting Jesus Christ as God, and accepting the Bible as literally word for word truth.
You mean prior to that time he was a guru? He
was a master. He was a teacher.
God in the flesh, Emmanuel, God with us.
No, that was in Christian Science. Where I was brought up, to say that Jesus was God was blasphemy. They made a very heavy emphasis on that Jesus was God. That was the main stumbling block to me. And I remember one day in the summer of '75, walking down the street and looking up and going, all right, Jesus, I buy it, you're God. And everything snapped.
Bang, just like that.
Just like that.
You knew that was, you were born again.
Oh yeah.